My job is to help that busy mom or busy human just make their life easier. Create something that'll make them look good and feel good. And I don't take that job lightly because I know I needed that. That would have just, I would sit helping clients, selling shoes to clients, and I'm like worried of, just like not feeling confident. And I tell women all the time, I'm not trying to get everyone to wear wigs. I'm just trying to get you to own whatever you have. Mm-hmm. And if a wig is going to make you own that, then I got you. But if you're already good, then perfect. That's great. That makes me happy. But there are women that are not there. I wasn't there.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives, just like you, on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join us in the Facebook community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, let's get social. Follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. I appreciate it more than you know. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, or something to let me know how you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast. Additionally, Friends in Beauty is now on Patreon. So for as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends in Beauty podcast. And there are also several tiers available that unlock Patreon exclusive content just for you, like behind the scene content of the Friends in Beauty podcast, bonus interview clips, a monthly Ask Me Anything, discounts, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll leave the link down below in the show description for that as well. Also, if you'd like to stay connected even further, join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe. They are the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different resources and tips throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, join us over there. And last but not least, listen up. The most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome Jane Harris to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Jane is the wig maker, owner, and mastermind behind the glueless wig brand, The Virgin Hair Fantasy. With over 13 years in business, Jane's brand, The Virgin Hair Fantasy, is the top choice of wigs among celebrities, entrepreneurs, and women that want to up their style game. Jane is the wife to her best friend, consulting chef Ed Harris, and the mother of their 3 children. I had such a fun time chatting it up with Jane. I don't know much about hair or hair brands, but I do know about the Virgin Hair Fantasy, and I learned so much and got lots of my questions answered about weaves and wigs that I've always had answered during our conversation. In this interview, Jane shares how she got into the hair industry, thoughts on the hair industry being oversaturated, if brand owners should consider the private label option, how she found her hair vendor, top 3 tips for starting a hair brand and startup costs that may surprise you, misconceptions about people who wear wigs, pros and cons of being the face of the brand, and wait until you see what happened when I asked Jane, how quick can a busy mom throw on a wig? I love it here. I just love it here on the Friends in Beauty podcast. Let's go ahead and jump into this fun conversation with Jane. And if you prefer to watch our beautiful faces, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, Jane.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm really so excited to have you. And I'm so glad that you reached out because I'm a makeup artist, so I don't know anything about hair. But when it comes to like hair brands, I feel like the Virgin Hair Fantasy is a brand that I've heard about like a lot of times, like one that I'm familiar with and like that rings a bell when I hear names. So I'm really excited to talk to the owner, the CEO behind the brand. This is really exciting for me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. When I heard about your podcast and I did my research, I'm like, oh, I got to talk to her.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So we'll go ahead and start off with some icebreakers so the Friends in Beauty audience can get to know you outside of what you do for your brand. So first one, just give us 3 random facts about you.
I am a homeschool mom of 3 amazing children.
Okay.
And I am a 2nd degree Black belt in martial arts.
Ooh.
Yes. And what's the 3rd thing about me? I'm Nigerian to the core.
Okay.
Food, dance, music, attitude, all that fun stuff. Yes.
I love that. Were you born in Nigeria?
Yes, born and raised.
That's so funny. I just had a guest last week. She's from Liberia. We were talking about jollof rice. And I was telling her that here in DC, I think they have it in New York too. They have like a jollof festival where they could do like a competition to see which country has the best. And the one time that I went to one here in DC, Sierra Leone won. And I told her that the Nigerians were not having it. Okay.
They take that really personal. Oh my God. I'm sure they were hurt.
They were hurt. They were like, what? Sierra Leone? Yeah. Like, what? Because I've never personally even heard Sierra Leone in the running for jollof rice, but I did taste it.
I thought it was Ghana.
Right. Ghana, Nigeria, or Senegal. But yeah, that was random.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I have these things called pod decks. They have like these random, sometimes cool questions in them. This is a what the heck and a would you rather. Which one would you like?
Would you rather?
Would you rather? Okay, let's go for it. Let's pick a random card and see. Let's see. Oh, okay, so it says, would you rather see Oprah or Arnold Schwarzenegger as the next U.S. president?
Oprah. I mean, that's love her.
Yeah, I'll say Oprah too.
Yes, of course.
It's like she's so involved politically, but I don't think she would ever run for president. That would be a surprise if she did that.
I think she just supports and makes her. I just love her position. She's very influential, though.
Yeah,
like she's very influential. But I just love the role she plays in our community. I just love that.
Yeah, she was just down here last week for the Maryland governor's inauguration and everything.
I saw her with a picture of him. It was beautiful, and she kind of gave him her thumbs up, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's awesome."
Yeah, to be plugged in with Oprah, that's nice.
That's the only plug you need in life.
Yeah, continue to spread. Yep. What is your favorite place that you vacationed to?
I would say India.
Ooh, India.
Yes, because I went there for business, looking for hair.
Okay.
And I was pleasantly surprised I was still able to like eat good, have fun, great scenery, great people. So I really was expecting like work, hit the ground running. And then it just showed me such a beautiful, on my way to go meet my partners. I'm like, you got a market here. Let me check it out. Like, it was the most amazing place. It wasn't vacation, but it felt like vacation because of how much fun I had.
I love that. And I love Indian food. So I can only imagine how good the authentic, like to be in India and have Indian food. So nice. Nice. What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do professionally?
I would say people always say I make them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because when I encounter, friends, family, even people I don't really know, I just, something about them always sticks out to me. And I always feel compelled to say something about it. If it's, I just feel like there's beauty in everyone, whether it's beautiful skin, great eyebrows, gorgeous hair, nice smile. I look for good. So I always find it in everyone. People are like, oh, don't you think people think that's fake? I said, no, when you tell them the truth about something about them, it can't be fake. It's real. And 9 times out of 10, somebody else has already told them. So they can connect with that, authenticity and realness. So yeah. I just feel like the world needs more of that. I mean, I like it when, people say something nice. So I always try, and people always say, oh my God, you always make me feel good. So that's one thing that I do here.
That's nice. Do you think that comes from being in the beauty industry, being able to see the beauty or the good in people?
I have to be honest, no, but that's what led me into the beauty industry. I started off selling shoes. I was a shoe salesperson. So I would say, no, I think it just came from something that I wish I had. And I started being the person that I wish somebody would be to me. Mm-hmm. And it became a practice that I just did for years, and it just stuck. Yeah. So, yes.
I love that. I asked that question because I feel like for me, I think being a makeup artist is easy for me to find something in people that's beautiful. It's very rare because, I feel like the world is so much kinder these days. Like, you don't really see people calling people ugly, all those nasty things. But I feel like I could always find something beautiful about somebody, like to accentuate their features or, something like that.
Oh, that's right. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you. When is the last time that you did something for the first time?
Oh, that's a good one. When was the last time I did something for the first time? Oh my goodness. It was this I took this online course, and it's all about breakthrough and don't be scared. One of those like motivational courses that I took at the beginning of the year. And it was like, stick your hand in an ice bucket and feel the cold. I did that thing. I didn't even last. My husband did it, and he came through successful. He couldn't even motivate me. I couldn't even do it, but I tried it. So that was my first. I've heard of the ice situation, what it does for your temperature and how good it is. So I tried. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna revisit it, but I couldn't last. I tried it though.
Like sticking your whole body in ice?
My fist.
Oh, just the fist.
Yeah. The coach does his whole body, but he goes, don't even worry about that. Just put your fist in there. What it does is if you can last, 3 minutes, you apparently don't feel nothing anymore. I didn't make it there to tell you if it worked, but my husband said it did. So I'll come back on here and comment on your YouTube video just to let you know if I did it or not. Now that I'm saying it out, I'm gonna have to make it happen.
I don't like being cold, like by the least bit. So if ice touches my teeth, I'm like, I can't do it.
It's supposed to make you feel like, as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you go through those tough times, and what those tough times do, they stretch you. And sometimes you feel like you're going to break. And that's what that ice is supposed to get me to a point where I'm like, but then pull through. So when you're going through a tough time, you think about that ice challenge. So I have to do that challenge for the end of the month. So I got to make it happen because I want to know how I feel.
Yeah, just the symbolism behind it. That you can get through it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one, if you weren't the CEO of the Virgin Hair Fantasy, what else could you see yourself doing?
My God, I will be a host at my husband's restaurant. Because he's a chef. He's been a chef for over 20 years. And I love hosting. I love being around people. I love the smile on people's faces when I give them food and they eat it and they love it. So I would do that and I would love it.
Okay. What kind of restaurant does he have?
He doesn't have a restaurant right now. He's a consultant.
Okay.
So he has a few concepts that he will play with in the future, but we'll see.
All right. I look forward to it. So you mentioned that you were born in Nigeria, but where did you grow up?
In Benin City, Nigeria. I left Nigeria when I was 16 to go to London for college. And I did 2 years. My sophomore year, I decided to transfer. So, America, big country. Let me check it out. So I decided to come to the US after my sophomore year. and I graduated here. So yeah.
Okay. Where'd you land in the US?
Atlanta.
Okay.
And I did Atlanta. I graduated college, got a job selling shoes, and 3 years in the game with the shoe company, they opened a store in New York. They're like, oh, Jane, we want you to go manage it. I was like, I'm 21 with no managerial experience, but I'll take it. If you do everything, you know, so they sent me over there, paid for everything. It was amazing. And I ended up staying in New York for like, I think 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, until I started, my husband and I started the Virgin Fantasy. That was my last job, you know, so it was awesome. I ended up staying with the company 13 years. So yeah.
Okay. What did you study in school?
I did marketing and management.
That's awesome. Okay. So a lot of things always make sense when I talk to people, when I see like their brands and everything, and I find out their backgrounds, it just makes sense why your brand looks the way that it looks, because you have that background.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So how did you get into the hair business?
So I think when I was I'm glad that I led with the New York story, because when I was in New York, you know, being in Atlanta, I was like, you know, Atlanta was cool. I was a Lenox Mall. It was great. But New York, my company, they opened a store on Madison Avenue. I did not know about that whole life. I mean, I had clients that would come in. They have 3 homes, one in Florida, one in New York, and one in Belize. Like they were just, you know, oozing like this successful, wealthy, and most of them didn't even work, you know. So I started being around a different caliber of people. And these women will like pour into me. They will talk to me. But then I started feeling like, I don't know, I didn't feel confident at all, because I'm like, my hair started falling out. At the time, I didn't know why. I was like, I never really had the best hairline, to be honest with you. I was always like really challenging, but being the youngest African-American, literally there was like 30 stores and there were only 2 African-American managers. I just felt so much pressure. I don't know where it came from. I can't even say the company put it on me. I put it on myself.
Yeah.
I was so stressed out. I wanted to be the best. I wanted it to be perfect. I was like, I'm the youngest and I'm African-American and all of this is on me. It was their highest volume store. The store did $3 million. The other store did like $250,000. They did 500. So there was a lot of money that I had to manage. I was like, how do I do this? So I think all of that just brought me so much stress, and I started losing my hair, and then that made me more stressed and I lost more hair. I was like, we're going to have to wig this up. So I turned around. I'm like, okay, there was a wig company behind, you know, very like exclusive, bougie, gorgeous. The wigs were ridiculously expensive. Ridiculous because I couldn't afford it. It's only ridiculous when you can't afford it, because the people that were buying it, they were walking away happy and excited. I was like, this is too much. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make my own wig. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing. I never made a wig before, but I'm like, first of all, I need a wig. So let's make it, right? We're going to try. So I went on YouTube and I'm like, this is so complicated. All the terms, it was just so much. I was like, okay, I faked it. I got whatever I needed to get. And I made my first wig, and it was terrible. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was a mess. It barely even fit. But the truth is, even in that moment of it not fitting and it was looking bad, it still gave me more confidence than my real hair. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna work on it. And I just became obsessed. I kept making and making. And one day I just made one that was just bomb. I was like,
yeah.
And then I made it again. It was bad. So it's like, you know, it was inconsistent for a while. And then finally I was like, you know what? I got this. And that's how I got into the hair business.
That is amazing. So just from you dibbling and dabbling and trying it out for yourself. So what made you say, okay, now I want to do this on like a business level and open up my own hair brand?
I think for me, I really liked the company I worked for. They were really good to me. I mean, I was in my 20s and I made really decent money. I was grateful for what I got. But for some reason, I got pulled into the hair business because it just was successful. Like I was able to make my year salary in 30 days. Mm-hmm. I couldn't ignore the numbers. I was like, oh, maybe I need to focus more attention on this. So when I was able to make my yearly salary within 30, 45 days, sometimes 2 months consistently, and that happened within a span of, I would say a good 8 months, then I was like, it's time to focus. And I started really loving it. I started meeting my clients, started making units for clients that would, tell me how it changed their lives. I was like, oh, I got to do this for life. I love this. So
okay.
yeah.
Awesome. When did you launch the company?
I believe 13 and a half years ago.
Wow. Okay.
We became a company. We started playing around 14 years ago, but we made it official in New York 13 and a half years ago.
Okay. Do you think that is like, not, I hate the word oversaturated, but compared to how it was 13 years ago, do you think it's like oversaturated now with hair companies?
No, I mean, it's so funny you said, that's such a good question. I tell, because I also help other wig makers grow and start their business. That's the one thing I try to tell them. There is a place for everyone in the hair business, because I feel like hair, like, I don't know who does your hair. They do a really good job. You do it yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, you do a good job. Because my husband and my children, they have locks. So I have an amazing stylist that, we're family now. Yeah. So that relationship between, a hairstylist, hair person, and it is so special, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine when your energy aligns with your client, you are locked in for life. Yeah. I literally just got off the phone with one of my top clients, and she's like, I'm coming in town. Let's go get some wine. I need to meet your husband, because because we're family. And we really are. So I always tell my clients, I'm like, my student clients, my students that I work with, I'm like, they'll call their doctor and they're calling you next. Like, that is how important a hairstylist or a beauty person is to, the person that needs the service. So I feel like if you have your own uniqueness about you, which we all have, that's one thing God did, he gave it to all of us, and you stand on that, you will never be hungry. It don't matter if 10, 20,000 people do the same thing in the same place with the same material, but it's not you though. Yeah. It's not, it will never, because that's one thing that when I was starting out, people were like, oh my God, everybody's in the hair business. That was then. They said it in the middle, 5 years in. They said it to me 6 years in. They're saying it to me today. Everybody. I say, yeah, everybody also does makeup. Everybody also wants to be an Airbnb host. Like, there's nothing that is not saturated. And I always use the example of Rihanna. I'm like, imagine if Rihanna decided not to reinvent herself. People are like, well, she's a celebrity. No, a lot of celebrities tried, but they didn't quite do it like Rihanna. Right? Why? Because she believed that she had a niche. Like, she believed she could she believed that she could do something different in a market that has already been established. And everybody's shaking in their boots because she's just starting out. So yeah, back to your question, there's no competition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I always say the bread aisle. Anytime you go down the bread aisle, nobody's saying like, no more bread brands, please, no more.
Exactly.
I'll be standing there like, I don't know which one to get, but this one looks good. I guess I'll get this one.
Yeah. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you take us through like the evolution of the Virgin Hair Fantasy, like compared to like when you launched? Like, did you launch with a full line of things, or how did you like gradually like start building up to where you are now?
That's such a good question, because when we launched, we were very clueless, had no clue. First of all, we didn't even have the money to start. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any of the money to start. I had to borrow. At the time, my husband was my boyfriend. And I was like, you just got paid, right? You owe me $500. He was like, what do you need $500? I was like, I need to, get some bundles. Literally like that. That's how the conversation started. Okay. I was like, I'm going to get the bundles. I'm going to make the hair, and then we'll see how it goes. Yeah. And that was $500. So, and the funny thing is, the last time I checked, which was a few months ago, because people are like, well, that was back then. No, you can still start a hair business with $500 or less. So we just built it, one by one, and we offered one look. And then from that one look, sold it, and we're able to offer 2 looks. And that took time to build. So that's pretty much, I will also say from then to now, my focus with Virgin then was more like, okay, we just want to be that wardrobe, that a wardrobe assistant that you don't have to worry about. Like, my job is to help that busy mom or busy human just make their life easier, create something that will make them look good and feel good. And I don't take that job lightly, because I know I needed that. That would have just, I would sit helping clients, selling shoes to clients, and I'm like worried of, just like not feeling, not feeling confident. And I tell women all the time, I'm not trying to get everyone to wear wigs. I'm just trying to get you to own whatever you have. Mm-hmm. And if a wig is going to make you own that, then I got you. But if you're already good, then perfect. That's great. That makes me happy. But there are women that are not there. I wasn't there. At all. You couldn't tell me nothing. I didn't want to see my natural hair. So, but guess what? Now I'm bald headed 30% of the time, and the other 30%, like it doesn't bother me anymore. The reason is because I've seen the options that I can accomplish. So, because I'm bald today, I can be 30 inches tomorrow. So it gave me the confidence to say I can do whatever. But a lot of women haven't even stepped into their brilliance yet because they're not even confident. And why aren't they confident? They don't feel good. Mm-hmm. And because they don't feel like they look good. So it's levels to that. So when I hear people say, oh, it's just wigs, or it's just, you have to let people do what they need to do to grab onto that confidence rope. Once they're on there, they can conquer the world, but some of them just need help to just get on there.
Yeah. So I totally get that. I come from a different spectrum. Like I've always had like natural hair, like all my life.
Your hair is so beautiful. Oh my God. I love it.
Thank you. But I do see the confidence factor and like what it does for people, and just aside from the confidence too, just like the way they accessorize it. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. So people like, I'm going on vacation. I got to bring this wig. I got to bring this wig to go with this outfit. And like, I think it's really cool. Now I like the beauty of being able to switch it up, like when you want to, and not, have to worry about that. Yep. So what does Perucas mean? You got to tell the people what is a
Peruca. When my husband and I launched the business 13 years ago, back then the wigs were not like this now. Now the technology and the expertise and techniques are much better. Hollywood has exposed all their secrets that we didn't even know about. I remember seeing movies like, I remember seeing a lace front on Brandy back in the day on a cover. I was like, her hair is so beautiful, because I had seen her braids. I'm like, her hairline, there was something, but I didn't know what it was. Beyonce, you saw these red carpet events and you're like, what are they wearing? I didn't know what it was. So now that the technology, is just everywhere. Back then when we started, you just knew it was a wig. Like you could tell. So my husband and I decided that we didn't want to call it wigs. We wanted to call it peruca. Peruca means wig in Portuguese. Okay. And we played with like 5 different languages. I'm not going to repeat how it was just like, we needed to sound feminine, so people want to be associated with it. One of them sounded like medicine. My husband's like, nah, that sounds like medicine. Let's do this, So yeah, this one, we decided to go with peruca. And peruca is I just love how it rolls out your mouth. Peruca. It's beautiful. Come to find out, the Middle Easterns in Arabic is peluca.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, sorry, baruca with a B, baruca. And then in, I believe in Brazil. No, is it Brazil? There's another country that calls it peluca with an L. So every now and then we get those natives say, no, you're saying it wrong. I said, nah, you need to Google it. The Portuguese people call it peruca. And so we get into conversation. It's always fun to defend, what we know. So it's all good.
I like that. Like switching it. That's a marketing thing too. I feel like just switching up the term so it could feel different to some people, because wigs had a bad connotation at one point, like, oh, wigs. But you see everybody wearing, like young girls, like wigs used to be for like old ladies. Like you just used to see old ladies wearing wigs. Now the young girls are, doing it with the lace front. So it just feels different.
It's trending, it's trending. You're right. It's been trending since Egyptian times though, but it's really, really trending now, where it's not something that you don't want to be associated with like before. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What is virgin hair, and like, why is that such like a good selling point for a hair company?
Virgin hair, when you say your hair is virgin, there's a certain functionality that goes with that. So the client automatically knows that they can curl it, they can put heat to it, they can bleach it, it's going to last them long. So that virgin term gives them that confidence that, okay, I'm getting something that's going to be durable, that's going to be versatile, that's going to be natural, that's going to be heat. What's the word now? You can use heat on it, so it gives you versatility and style. So, but I will say the market has changed because that term is now used loosely. So you don't really, something doesn't have to be 100% virgin for you to say virgin anymore. So now clients kind of have to do a little bit more research to figure out which one is the real virgin hair. So yeah, that's why originally that's what the term was. It's hair that hasn't been processed. It's hair that has all cuticles aligned. And why is that important? Is because when they get the hair from the donor, they cut it in one direction. So when you now attach it to a weft, which is what, you get hair, attach it to a weft to make a wig. So when you comb it, it doesn't tangle.
Right. Okay.
That's why you get it. Yeah. But if it's not virgin and you get it all over, that's when after 2 weeks, it starts to tangle and it starts to look bad.
Got you. Okay. Was it hard to source your vendors when you first started, or even now? Is it hard to source vendors for virgin hair company?
At first it was. And I remember when we wanted to be, we had a vendor, but we wanted to be, after 5 years in the business, my husband was like, well, I think it's time to kick it up a notch. I was like, I thought we were already kicking up. He's like, nah, we need to go to India. I was like, we don't know anybody in India. We had done some research to try to find a vendor. They weren't even not one lead. So he was like, let's just go. And we were literally in India on the streets with a bike literally, so do you know anybody that sells hair? I would have never thought I would, all the way from another, that's faith. Now that I think back, we had a whole lot of faith. I mean, I think he was so confident that and 2 days later, after scrubbing the streets, we found 3 vendors. And we ended up partnering with an amazing family who we loved how they, get the hair and their practices and with the temples. So back then it was a little difficult, but now it's much easier to get a vendor. But what happens is people are not patient. You get a vendor, you got to test it out first. You just can't get a vendor and then sell it to the client. You have to test it out. Sometimes that takes 3 months, 6 months. I tested my vendors for a year because I'm in this game for the long haul. Like the client that I spoke to this morning, I keep referencing her because I had such a good talk with her, called her to say Happy New Year. And we ended up talking for 30 minutes, but she's been my client for 12 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm not selling hair to my client, a wham, bam, thank you, man, turns out. No, I want her sister, her cousin, her grandma, her niece. Like I want in, and I want her to, if my daughter decides to take over the company, her children will be shopping. Like that's the kind of generational confidence and business my husband and I are trying to build. So it's important to work with integrity. So if I'm telling you that this hair is authentic, I need to say it with my chest out and knowing that, no, it is. Like I've tested it. I was in India and I made sure that this is right. And yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I always it's like how many people are donating their hair to be able to have all of these companies like this? I'm just imagining just bundles, just everywhere.
It is. When we went to we didn't go to the temple because we weren't allowed. But when you see the way the way they grab the hair, because it's a few countries around that region that do the donations. And it was just amazing. It was a whole lot of hair. Yeah. It was all spread out and I was able to record it. So what I did was, which I thought was interesting, and now that I think about it, I'm glad that I did. I brought my audience with me because I didn't want to be a talker. Like I love to, because social media, it's a lot of talking and a lot of you don't know for sure, right? Mm-hmm. So I went live. I say, hey guys, I'm here. This is live, and then I recorded and I did everything just to let my clients know that this is how far I will go to be authentic and be true and bring you the best. And it worked because a lot of my clients were like, oh my God, I'm glad that we got to see the process. So
yeah, that's super cool. Are you still personally making the wigs when people get custom orders and stuff?
Sometimes I do. I love doing hair. So if I have an amazing team and they are so good, but I still have to touch it. I don't touch every single unit. I do see every single unit. However, there are a few styles that I'm really passionate about that I work on. And then I have my other team members. They're like, oh, you do the bangs best. You do the bangs. Like, no, you do the color best. You do the color. So we have everyone that has their own specialty. I love doing baby hairs and I love doing, these are my signature bangs that I love doing. So there's certain things that Jen, we know you want to cut the bang. I'm like, and I'm cutting the bangs, but I don't know how long I'll be able to do that, but I'm enjoying it right now. Yeah. But we have a great team. They're so talented.
I love that. Did you ever end up going to cosmetology school or anything, or taking hair classes, or everything you just self-taught?
I do. In the last, I would say the first 5 years, I was YouTube taught, like YouTube. I was like, if I need to learn something, I'll go on YouTube. And then in the last 7 years, every year I take at least 2 or 3 online courses. Like I literally go online, I see someone who's killing it. I DM them, I say, hey, can we talk? Can I take a private class with you? I've been turned down many times, but that doesn't stop me. I just go to the next person because there's so many people that are talented and you can always learn. And I feel like that's how I've been. It's kept me current, you know, because I don't know everything, and techniques and styles change all the time. So if I see someone who just new to the game or killing it, I'm like, oh, let's do a one-on-one. Teach me, you know, and it usually works, but sometimes I get denied, but then I just keep going.
Yeah, that's how you should be. I love that. What are your like top 3 tips for people? Like maybe there's somebody out there that has been, you know, wanting to start a hair brand or a hair company. Do you have any top 3 tips for starting a hair company?
Yes. Think small. You know, I think when people think of starting a company, it's like, I'm going to start a company. So automatically it's like, oh, we don't have funding. No, you have that will and the idea to start it. That is bigger than anything. Because if somebody would have told me that $500 and just a drive would have gotten me out of my 9-to-5 that I love so much and just taking me all over the world, like changed my life. So I would say first tip is to think small, start where you are, and you have no competition. This is one industry that it has such an emotional attachment. Like as a wig artist, a beauty artist, or whatever you want to call yourself, you have that opportunity to carve your name. Like you could start, like anybody could start tomorrow in the beauty business and still carve their name. Like that's one business that you can niche down because you're an artist, you know? How many artists out there, but you still know Van Gogh? Like you know, you're an artist. You know, you're going to be celebrated for what you have and how you do it, your essence and all of that. So I feel like because of that kind of business, not, you know, it's important to know that it's not saturated and you can still carve a space for yourself, even, no matter when you start. But start now. Don't wait.
What do you think about like people going the private label route?
There's nothing wrong with that. I always say, honestly, and I'm so glad you brought that up, I try to teach my amazing students that you could be the best the best wig maker in the world, but if you're not a business person, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to go the private label route and have really, really good business skills, nobody will care whether you're touching the unit or who cares about that? Nobody does. Rihanna is not in the lab making the lipsticks, is she? No, she's not.
Right.
She's not. Kim Kardashian is not sewing Sims. But these are really smart business people that get it. What does she do? She sits in her bathroom and does the little lives and does the tutorials. That's where that's her expertise. That's what, you know, she's going to get her money's worth by doing that. So I think people get caught up in the grind work in the process and thinking that's the only way to succeed. No, you can succeed that way as well. But I feel like more than anything, building a really strong sales skills is important. So if you're going to private label, go ahead, private label, but market it perfectly and you'll be fine. You'll be competing with everybody else who's slaving in the back doing it. Nobody cares. Yeah. It's the output that people care about.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if it's more so about the marketing, because as many hair brands as we see, it is a little bit different the way that they market it. So is it like, does the success lie in, of course, having a quality product, but also the way you're marketing it and then like who you're marketing to?
Yes, 100%. Because the truth is people don't really know about your quality until they test it out. So they still have to buy first. Mm-hmm. How do you get them to buy? Like, how do you get a client to buy? They have to trust you. I feel like that right there is missed. You can do all the marketing ads and all that great stuff that you want, but if people can't connect with you, if they can't see if they can't feel the sincerity and the authenticity in your delivery, then the message is lost. Okay. Mm-hmm. And how do you acquire those skills? Take a course, take a class, learn them fast, because that right there will determine if your business will be successful or not. You could be the most talented, best wig maker in the world. Nobody will know about you unless you can establish trust with your audience. They need to see that you care. You need to pinpoint their pain and tell them, convince them that you can solve their problem. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I hope y'all caught that. I hope y'all caught that marketing tip. I love that. Oh my gosh. So are there any mistakes that you made, while building your brand that you can advise people to avoid so they won't have to go through that?
Yes, for sure. Many. First of all, mistakes are part of the whole puzzle. They guide you. They're great lessons. They're a great way for you to, know where you want to go, where you don't want to go. I would say my number one would be really not planning ahead. Okay. I think when we started, we were like, oh, we don't know how it's going to go. So you always want to plan ahead. It took me years in the business to realize that, wait a minute, I'm messing myself up by not planning way ahead. And when I say way ahead, you have to plan the way they plan for example, if you have, what's the fashion show in New York? New York Fashion Week. Right now they're doing what I think fall, So you're like, wait a minute, it's not even, that's how far you have to go. Like, for example, you need to, right now is January, you need to already have an Easter campaign in the process of, be in your thoughts. And what's the next holiday is Mother's Day. So you need to be ahead. Valentine's now, that's done. You can't, it's done. The photo shoot is done for that. So always planning ahead was something that after years, I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's what we've been missing. So I think that was one of the mistakes we made coming up, because we didn't know that you have to really plan ahead, not like next week, more like 3 months ahead.
Mm-hmm. I love that advice. And I think that that's something that I'm even starting to notice with myself, like not planning ahead. I just be like kind of going with the flow, but I notice it like as I've gotten older. I've noticed it in retail more. Like, let me think. I think around Christmas time or towards the end of Christmas time, I was already seeing like Valentine's Day stuff out for people to buy, like stuff like that. When you go in the store, if you go in the store now, you'll see the Valentine's Day stuff, but you'll probably start seeing like St. Patrick's Day stuff. So like, I'm starting to notice it with like how retail companies are like, they plan ahead for sure. Like way before Christmas is here, we're already seeing the Christmas trees and all of the things. So I like that. That's one thing that I have to start working on myself. I know for sure.
And I love that you said that you're kind of spontaneous, because we're creatives, babe. We're supposed to be. That's part of our gift. So it's like being on a plan. It's like, because I can wake up like, oh, I want to do a live today, and I want to, like, that's me. But guess what? As long as we plan the framework, we don't have to plan everything out, but just have an idea and have a framework that allows you to be spontaneous on the end. Because if I can't be spontaneous, I get bored, and we got to be creative. So if you can just plan for the big stuff, right, and then everything, and then be spontaneous around that, then it allows for balance, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay. So what do you think is like the biggest misconception is? What is the biggest misconception with people wearing wigs now in this generation?
That they don't have confidence. Because I'm only speaking from my truth, that's why I started wearing wigs, but I am a small majority. Oh, sorry, not a small. I'm a small part of that puzzle, right? I've met women that wear wigs for totally different reasons. They are confident. They want versatility. They don't want to put dye in their hair. Some of them are allergic to dyes and they want a certain color. So to just assume that my story is everyone's story, it's to me, it doesn't, because I can't come on here and say, I know why you wear wigs, because you're insecure. No, yeah. That's like a small portion. I started wearing wigs when I was insecure, but that may not be her story, or whoever's story. So everybody has a reason why. Just know that they want options. That part you can but that's it.
Yeah. Okay. I like that you shared that too, because it was something that you said earlier when you said something about the wig was bad, but you still didn't want to deal with like how your natural hair looked up under the wig. And that I think I was just talking about this the other day, and I had an aha moment when you said that, because I'm always curious about those people. I see people with bad wigs sometimes, and I'm always like, you would rather wear this bad wig or bad weave than to just wear your natural hair. I just be so confused, but we don't know what maybe
you don't know what's
on up under there where they don't want. So that was like an aha. That you answered my question because I'm always curious about that. I don't really have, like, most of my closest friends have locks. I have a few that have like wigs or weaves, but they always look good. So it's always like laid and stuff. So I've never been able to ask somebody that question, like, why do you choose to wear this bad weave instead of wearing bad natural hair? I don't know, but I'm always that totally hit the.
No, babe, seriously. And I'm so glad you highlighted that, because it's important to know that. You're right. And it's funny that you talk about the bad. It's this year, I'm like, January, what do I want to focus on? I'm like, I want to focus on people that don't wear their wigs properly. Mm-hmm. So it's funny that you said that. I've been working on getting people to wear their wigs properly so it doesn't look like a wig. Mm-hmm. And that's like a whole nother, like, I can sell you the wig, but if you put it on and it looks like a helmet on your head, then what's the point? So yeah, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother, it'll be tacked down. They just throwing it on. They don't know how to curl it or maintain it. I think that's very important though, because I do have a friend like that. She doesn't know how to do her hair. So like when she does get weaves or, wigs, she doesn't know how to maintain it. Like it'll look good when she first gets it done, but in order to like maintain it, she doesn't know what to do. So then it starts looking crazy. And I'm like, girl, we need some braids or something. It's like, yeah.
That's right.
So can you speak to us about being the face of your brand, like being the face of the brand? Like when we go on your page, we see you, Jane. Are there any pros and cons to doing that? Because I know some people want to have like faceless brands and,
It's funny because I'm so glad you have this is such a good question. When we started, I was working my full-time job. So, and at first I wasn't even trying to let the owner know I was like, oh, let me keep this on the low because I don't want him to let me go. But so that wasn't a choice for me. So I used a lot of amazing models, and I did that for a good part of the business to where people didn't even know who there was no like owner. It was like the Virgin Hair Fantasy. And I loved it because it gave me like, I was like, oh, this is cool, chilling. I was under the radar. First of all, I was still I was not confident at all. Like I was just very, shy still, and it backfired because when it was that time in YouTube era where people were just starting to understand how powerful YouTube was, right? This was like 13 years ago. And the YouTube bloggers at the time, they weren't really taking money. They didn't start taking money yet. But after we started working with them, the big companies started throwing money to the YouTubers, which was fine, great, they deserve it, they're creatives. But that took people like small businesses like us who couldn't measure up to the bigger companies and, pay the money that they were requesting. So I found that we started the pool to work with YouTubers who I've depended on the first 4 years of my business, it started going down. And then when, I felt like we were at the mercy of whether they liked you or not. I mean, it's not even paying now. This is more like, and it did happen. A YouTuber tried to use that to their advantage. So it backfired because they were the face of our company at the time. And they were like, well, I don't want to be the face of my mom. Well, what are we going to do? We have a contract. So it made me feel my hands were tied and I didn't like that feeling. So because of that situation, I was like, you know what? How hard can it be? I'm going to just put on some makeup. I turned on the camera, put on the light. My eyebrows were busted. Blush was hideous. But I was like, hey guys, my name is Jane. And I haven't looked back since. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to now, I'm starting to use my girl. My husband's going to bring her for me. I use a mannequin now because yes, I'm transitioning starting this year. It's funny you said that because I've always been, I love being in front of the camera, but being a homeschool mom, I've been a homeschool mom for 3 years. This girl gives me she don't play.
Okay. She's serving face.
She serves face 24/7. She doesn't have an attitude. Okay. She's amazing. So I'm transitioning into using more mannequin heads, which I kind of like the aesthetics. I love how it looks on the page. I'm a wig maker. So it's like, oh, the mannequin head is almost expected. But so yeah, I'm transitioning into more of using mannequins so I can kind of control my narrative. I can kind of, do what I have to do. And then if I I don't want to be in the front of the camera, I can still get my workout and be happy.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. So we're going to do never have I ever. So I have a never have I ever statement for you. So if this has happened to you, like share the story behind it. If it hasn't, or even if it has, I still want you to share like how you would advise like another hair company owner to like handle this situation. So the statement I have for you is, never have I ever had another hair company steal my images to promote their brand. Has that ever happened to you before?
Yes. Like, my God, like all the time.
What is that about?
The first time it happened, I was like, oh no, stop the show. They stole my picture, my heart, da, 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 da. And I contacted our attorney. I was like, so how do we handle this? He was like, girl, go sit on down. You can't fight this. You're going to end up paying way more. I was like, there's nothing I can do. He goes, did you patent the image? Did you trademark the image? I was like, I got to do that. He's like, yep. So it's a lose-lose battle. If they take your image and they're using it, my advice to you is just to move on. Because what that does, if you dwell on it, it will steal your creativity, which will in turn cost you way more money. Literally, when I get the DM, because they stay DMing me, Jane, I saw your picture. I say, did you leave a comment? Did you leave a comment? I said, leave a comment, tell them to go to the Virgin Fantasy. Listen, it's hard because at first I cried because I was like, why would they do this to me? It's not about you. They do it to everyone. I started seeing other wig makers. It happens to a lot of wig makers. So what are you going to do? Like, but just to protect your mental space and just your creativity. As creatives, our creativity, our mind is so important. This is not a job that you can go and clock in and be like, I'm just going to I'm not going to really put my all in. You can't. Right. You cannot beat a face. I cannot do the energy. I need to be in good spirits. I need to be, I don't have to be perfect, but I can't be like mad, and depressed and upset. Like I just want to do good work. Right. So it's important to protect that. And part of protecting that is, it's a hairstyle, it's a picture. I'll take another photo shoot. I'll do something else. The clients are more upset about it now than I am. They get so mad. I'm like, go ahead, soldiers. I appreciate y'all, but I'm good. Like God got me.
Yeah. And I feel you, because that would just be a lot of work to even go through the process of trademarking and doing whatever you got to do to each image. Like that would be a lot of work.
And then there's like 50 companies taking so you're going to take all 50 of them to court?
Right.
No.
Dang. Because I see this all the time, even with like models or like YouTubers, like they'll take their pictures and like use it for, oh my God.
All the time. It's crazy.
That is wild. Okay. So what do you think it is that sets the Virgin Hair Fantasy apart from other hair brands and why your customers are so loyal to you?
I think it's our attention to detail. We're very detail oriented. I think my experience in the shoe store taught me, because I was a commission sales. I was a store manager, but I made commission off of my sales. I made commission off of everybody else's sales. So I understood how important it was to have relationships. That's how I ate. So it's like you can't, and you can't build a business without, in my opinion, relationship, because you are in just like in any industry, they can go anywhere else. I assume that they can go anywhere else. So my daily job, when I wake up, I'm like, how can I make it really difficult for my client to look anywhere else? That's to me, what can I do to make them love me so much that they don't want to go nowhere else? So if you can answer that question, even if you can't do it every day, every week, you answer your emails on time, you make sure they get their hair on time. And if they email you with a problem, you're going to respond, because you are trying to get them to not go anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So I think our attention to that and making that really important in our business keeps clients coming back, and it just keeps our clients loyal. And I know for a fact it's kept us in business for over a decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you shared that about the building relationship aspect of it, because I really do think that is something that goes over people's heads like a lot. Is just building the relationship with people. They just think it's going to just automatically, you put something out, they're just going to come and stick with you, but you have to build that loyalty. They just not going to be loyal to just any old body. You got to like build that up.
I agree.
Yeah. So what did you think, or how did you go about getting your brand in front of celebrities?
That's a good question. We didn't have any celebrities at first. I think I'm trying to figure out who was the first person. I think we started the YouTubers when we started putting our brand out there on public forum like YouTube. And I think we were very, very intentional with the YouTubers we worked with. They were very talented. So they had an audience of everybody. I think that's when one particular YouTuber blew up. Like she did one video like at 3 a.m. in the morning. We woke up the next day. That's actually the reason why I had to leave my job, because we woke up the next day to like 50 orders. I was like, from one video. And so I was like, okay. And then we started getting DMs from celebrities. Oh, can we try your hair? And then now we reach out to the celebrities, you know, and back then I would have never, I'm like, ooh, you know, but now, you know, after doing business a while, you build confidence. So I reach out to them now. Back then they were reaching out more, but for some reason, because I think the virgin hair and wig business is now more popular, I'm not waiting for them to come to me. That's another thing about marketing. When you have to switch and change with the times. We didn't have Instagram 13 years ago. So now a lot of things are more accessible. So now it's easy for me to just slide in their DMs like, hey, what's up? And I literally will say, hey, what's up? I want to do your hair. And you'd be shocked how many will respond. I'm like, oh yeah, actually, I'm going to be in Atlanta. You want to link up? Like, what? Yes. So yes. So now we do the reaching out. And the truth is, I tell people all the time, you do not have to be a big brand name or an established business or someone who's been in business for a long time. You just have to be bold. Like, are you bold enough? That's all it takes. You can have one follower and be like, hey, who would I want to talk? Okay, hey, Rihanna, I would love to do your face, or I would love to do your hair. The chances of her saying no or yes, we don't know. So why don't we try?
Mm-hmm. Fear. People be scared of the rejection.
I know. And I was one of those too, until I was like, wait a minute, I have to feed my kids. So can we do this, please? And if they don't respond, which honestly, I have DM'd Beyonce like maybe 10 times, and I'm going to continue. I don't care. Yeah. I will continue to reach out. Like there's no celebrity that you are not entitled to bless them with your artistry.
I agree. And I always tell people, like, they will literally have to be like, girl, I saw the 10 DMs. I didn't answer on purpose. Leave me alone. Like they would have to be like, cut it out for me to be like, I'm not going to reach out. And I always tell people are busy too. So like, sometimes they do see the messages, they forget to respond, and like, don't take it personally. Just keep on trying until you get your answer.
It's pride. I told myself, I think for me, and it's funny that because I told you I just had a coaching session. The next level that I'm trying to take myself, I can't have pride. Pride is messing with pockets. Pride doesn't pay bills. So I'm like, no pride. You can literally look in my face like, I don't want your hair. I don't like you. Okay, no problem. Have a nice day. I'll go to the next person. This is not personal. So no pride. 2023, do what you have to do.
Period. Okay. Yes. And I know you said like the virgin hair fantasy is also for like busy moms. Like how quick can a busy mom like throw on a wig and just like look? Yes. Yeah. I hope y'all are watching on YouTube. Yes, that quick.
Like if I say, I almost did my lock wig is with my sister, and I would have had that on. Oh my God, I made this gorgeous lock wig.
Can I do that kind of wig with my locks?
Yes, because it's so fluffy and beautiful that you won't even, because you have a lot of hair and you can just tuck it in and we can do it in that color that you got. That I think is a cranberry brownish earth. Like
brown, yeah.
It's beautiful. So yeah, we can do it in that color.
You just took me out.
That's the only way to do it. Like I have to show you, and then every now and then I'm in the streets like this, like, hey, I love the versatility. I love it. I love your hair.
Are you and your sister twins?
No, I wish we were. That means I will be like 6 years younger. But no, she's my youngest sister.
Y'all look so much alike.
Thank you. we call it, she's like, you're my twin, I'm your twin. There's 5 girls, but her and I look the most alike.
Okay, so busy moms, as you can see, no excuses. You can look fabulous in literally 2 seconds.
Yes.
2 seconds. I love that. How do you balance motherhood, business, being a wife? Like, is there such thing as balance, first of all, or how do you manage all of that?
There's so many pockets and there's no balance. I think this is what I'm learning this, and thank you, God, that I'm able to articulate this, because it took me a while to understand it. Because as moms, you know, sometimes you go through guilt, and, you know, especially when you're passionate, like I really love my job, so I don't see that as work. So I'll be like doing wigs for like 20 hours and not even think about it. You just have to be intentional with your time. Like when I'm with my children in the morning, when we're doing a homeschooling thing, I'm like all up in their nose and then on their neck. Like I'm like this, because I want you to feel me there. Like I'm passionate about that moment. And then I go on to making my wigs, and I'm passionate about that. I think what I was doing in the past would be, I'll just be doing everything at the same time. And that's, if I give my child undivided attention for a good hour in a day, where I'm like, no TV, no phone, an hour, that's different from me being in the house with them for like 8 hours and they're playing video game and we're running around. There's 2 types of time. So because I know how busy I am, when I create time for my kids, I don't have my phone. I'm locked in, you know. But then there's some days like this week, really busy, have a lot of deadlines. So they understand that, you know, mommy is going to be not as available as but then the next week, we play video games every single night. You know, you just do your best to make it up as you go. So, and not feel guilty about it, because sometimes you're going to need to do the work. You're going to need to miss a few dinners, and, you know, you're going to need to, but it's okay. When you finish, make it up even harder the next day. And that's where the balance is, in my opinion.
Yes. Okay. Why did you choose the homeschooling aspect aside from going to school? Because my best friend is pregnant right now. So she said that she wants to homeschool her child for a good portion of, you know, their education. So are your kids like homeschooling until they get to like high school, or like what's that process like?
Well, we took them out of school because of COVID. And so after COVID, when everyone was like, oh yeah, they're going back, we're like, I think we're going to keep it this way, because I just love the fact that we can customize what they learn. I can teach them about all of the amazing African-American heroes that they may not learn in school. My son is learning about art. He loves it. He doesn't worry about anyone making fun of him. Like, he's just growing in his own glory with no stress. My daughter wants to be a DJ, and she thinks it's the coolest thing. And I think it's good. She's only 7, and she's looking at all the female DJs and her, like, just loving that and exploring that. My oldest wants to be a coder this week, and the next week she wants to do guitar, and the next week she wants to be an entrepreneur that she said she only wants to do drop shipping. She doesn't want to do any. I was like, not only she's like, mommy, I don't want to do the shipping because I see how when you get really stressed out when you're shipping stuff. So I want to do drop. Girl, I was like, God bless you. If that's the only thing we were able to accomplish, we good. Like, just to let her see, you know what I mean, the process, and for her to make that kind of decision at 12.
Yeah.
And I can't even take credit. That wasn't come from no book. That's just the fact that she was home with us, and she sees that, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I want to do that part of entrepreneurship. I want to do this part. I was like, girl, I wish I knew what you know when I started. I would have started off that way. You know what I mean? So she literally looked at me and said, I want to do product. I said, so how are you going to ship it? She goes, oh, no, mommy, I'm doing drop shipping. I'm not going to do the shipping. I'm going to do a fulfillment center.
That is fascinating how the conversations are different, and people don't give children enough credit. They are watching.
And they are wise. They are wise. So
wow.
Yeah. So that right there keeps me, and I'm not going to lie, it wasn't the most convenient decision, because first of all, when I told my sisters I was homeschooling, they were like, you're right. Girl, you don't even have time to brush your teeth. Like, you're so busy. But if I can't do this, what else am I doing? Mm-hmm. My children, you know what I mean? So I'm just grateful that Virgin allows me to do this. And that has motivated me to teach other, like last week, I had my homeschool coach. the lady who kind of helped me pull me through, because I was so worried. I'm like, oh my God, that future is in my hands. What am I going to do? And she literally, you know, guided me and all of that. So I brought her on to do an interview so other people who want to do it can kind of connect with her, because I'm so passionate about it. I feel like, you know, some people want to do it and they can't. And some people want to do it, but they're scared, you know? So I just wanted to give people options. So I am very passionate about homeschooling, because I think it benefits not only the children, but I'm such a much happier person. I get to see my kids. I get to pour into them. Like this morning, we had a 5-minute meditation because my son was like, Mommy, I don't mind meditating, but can we do 1 minute? It's just long. So I was like, okay. So we started off with 2 minutes. And after the 2 minutes, he was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Can we do 2 more minutes? I was like, okay, you want to for the remaining 1 minute? So he laid on me and then he asked for more minutes. I was like, nah, you said 5 minutes, you know, you didn't want it, you know, you didn't know it was relaxing. He was so relaxed. He was like, oh, Mommy, that wasn't too bad. Right. So I feel like we wouldn't have done that. So we meditated, we played a card game, which just made us tight. You know, we had a good card game. Of course, I won. It was fun. It was fun. I'm just having a good time with them, just enjoying them, you know, so it's been great.
I love that you were able to build a business where you can do this, because a lot of people don't even have those options. So if you build a business that you could really just like build out the life that you want, instead of just, you know, settling for whatever life that you can get based off of, you know, whatever circumstance, it gave me chills when you said that. Like, I really love that for you and for everybody who does that.
And I love that for anyone who wants to do that. I pray that if there's anyone listening to this, whatever you have to do it, you can, you know, and I think happiness, it took me a while to just get here in terms of what really makes me happy. Listen, money is great, bank account, all of that, but that happiness that makes your heart sing is in time with your children, or time with yourself, or that joy inside your heart. You can't put money on that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. On a personal level, like, how do you take care of yourself to be able to show up for your kids and your family and your business the way that you do?
That's a great idea. I mean, self-care has been really important to me, because I get really busy. So in the morning, I have a morning routine that has kept me sane. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't do my morning routine, it's something wrong with me. Like, I have to. I wake up, I pray, because that just gives me that guide that I need. I pray, and then I write down my gratitude list. I spend a good 10, 15 minutes, like taking my time. I write down what I'm grateful for, and I write down how I want my day to go. And I've been doing this religiously now for almost a year, like every single day. I may skip one day every now and then, but rarely. And then after I write down my gratitude list, I work out for 10 minutes. I don't go to a gym. And then a lot of people are like, how do you, because I can't, kids, you know, running around. So I work out at home. I have an app, it's free, that I just do my little 10, 15 minutes, get my body going. And after that, I'm ready for the world. That just, to me, I always say, oh man, thank God I prayed this morning, because I didn't even know this was going to happen. Now I'm ready for you. Like, you know, so that has always put me in the right place, and it keeps me sane. But other than that, I try to do every 6 weeks, girl. I got to get my massage. I try to do that. But that's really it. I think that daily routine, it takes care of so much, because I do it every day. Like, I can't wait 6 weeks to get a massage if I can feel good. That's too far. Mm-hmm. I need the juice every day. And it's best to get it in the morning. Yes. So when I'm at 6 o'clock, I'm like, what's up? I'm ready to go. So yeah.
Okay. So when it's all said and done, like, what do you want your legacy to be?
That I was bold enough to teach my kids. Like, literally, like, I love Virgin. I love being a wig maker, but I want that to come up as, because of that profession, I was able to do my true calling, which is help my children raise functioning, loving adults, you know? And that just became the most important thing in the last 3 years to me. Mm-hmm. Like, watching them grow and talking back, telling me things that they don't want to do, what they want, their opinion, their options. how they see themselves, how they love themselves, it's priceless. Like, I'm like, nothing beats this. Like, I'm just like, really? That's how you feel? You know, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Anything coming up next for you?
I think a lot of online courses. I didn't really do a lot of online courses in the beginning, but now, because of, like I said, with wanting to teach people how to make their hair look better, I think for me, because of COVID, I'm like, okay, that was a sign. Let's have more digital courses to go with our offering. So we're going to be doing a lot of digital stuff. And I'm looking forward to our first retreat. Because my clients, you know, I have an amazing group of clients that I've had for over a decade. They're like, Jane, we want to meet you. We want to vibe and we want to meet others. So I'm putting together a retreat for my clients. My husband and I were excited about it. So doing more things that bring our community together, it will be my focus for this year.
Yeah,
just to make the bond tighter.
Yeah, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're requesting your, you know, to be in your presence, I just love that.
I want to be in their presence. You know what I mean? Like, I love them. So it's like, I tell them all the time, like my number one client, she texted me. She was like, Jane, you know, Janet Jackson is going to be in Atlanta in April. You know, I would love for us to go. I was like, what? Say no more. So we bought tickets and we're both going to be at the Janet Jackson concert. I'm like, I get to go see Janet Jackson with my client. Like, that doesn't happen, you know? And she recently she lost her dad, and I called her and we were both crying on the phone. Like, that, the relationship that I've gained from being a wig maker, just amazing. Feels good.
Phenomenal. Okay. Who do you think would be a good guest for the Friends in Beauty podcast?
Oh my gosh. I know, like, this amazing, she's a fashion, I call her a fashion icon. She has an amazing story. Her name is Odd by Monica, and she just interviewed me for her, I believe her podcast, yes, and her YouTube channel. And she is also a mom, and she started her blogging business, and she's kicking, you know what, like doing really well. And, you know, and she does luxury items, and, you know, there's not a lot of brown girls doing luxury items, and she does it with so much class. So yeah, I can see her. Yeah, I can see her being a guest for sure. I also see my husband being a guest, because I feel like he tackles beauty on the inside.
Ooh, okay.
Because, you know, we're vegan, so he's a vegan chef, and every now and then I'll bring him on to just talk about. I say, I know you guys know me for wigs and lashes and makeup, but listen, I really care about your beauty on the inside, which is your organs, your health. So, you know, you put beauty in front of like food and health, it makes it sexy. Where people are like, oh, you're right, I didn't think about beauty on the inside. I you know, as opposed to, you want to be healthy. Like, people like that word is like, you automatically have to sacrifice. But when you say, I want to make you beautiful on the inside, like, oh. Yes. So yeah, so my husband is all about that. He won Chopped. He's a Chopped winner. He's been on several Food Network shows, and just an amazing guy. And he just loves to make people, he likes to help people do what I do on the outside, but he does it on the inside, which is also awesome. A
vegan Nigerian. How did your family tear you apart?
Thank you. How did you know? Oh my God. It's so bad that my husband was like, I'm writing a vegan Nigerian recipe book. Like, oh, he's writing a book right now. It's going to be complete in a month. There's no such thing as like an oxymoron. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But girl, let them tell it. I've been able to convert a lot of my traditional dishes, but guess what? I haven't gotten anyone to try yet, but that's okay. I love it, and my amazing vegan friends love it, but I'm going to do like a little gathering with my family to get them to taste it. They're still skeptical. I'm working on them.
Yes, my family's from Jamaica, so I already know, like, Caribbean people, African people, no meat. What are you talking about?
We're not eating. They wouldn't even do, like, no, forget it. So I got to trick them now. I got to make, you know, things look like meat. Yeah. So it can, you know, even if it tastes so good, but they're like, you know, but you can trick them with a sandwich though. They can't really tell. A sandwich, you can, you know, put some mushrooms in there. You can trick them.
Just make sure the egusi is on the menu. I like egusi.
What? That's my favorite. I love it. That's my favorite.
Okay. Yes, I can't wait. Okay. So before you go, I have to ask you the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions. So whatever comes to, mind first, just spit it out. So the first one, what are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Faith. Faith, 100% faith. I don't even know if I have anyone after that. Faith, integrity, and I'm just bold. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not always, because sometimes I doubt myself, but for the most part, I am. And when I doubt myself, I read books and I listen just to beef me back up, but just bold enough to say, I can do that. I can reach out to Beyonce. I can reach out to Janet Jackson. I can reach out to whoever, because there's been times, even in that high caliber of amazing talent, I've gotten a response back to say, sure, let's do it. So I'm like, oh, it works. You just have to be bold enough. So yeah.
Okay. How do you measure your success?
Time. The time I have to just chill and read a book, or time I have to cook my family a meal, time I have to do stuff like this, that to me is success. Being able to pour into other people and help others, because it's hard to, sometimes when you're busy, you just don't feel like you have the time. So for me, that's why my daughter is all about fulfillment, because she knows like that's my plan. I'm like, okay, how do I get more time? Is to have other people ship so I don't have to. So yeah, it's all about time for me, and not necessarily time to do anything else, just time to chill, time to meditate, time to exercise, time to spend with my kids, time to cook, time to twist my husband's locks, like whatever, like time to chill. So time for me is successful. I will trade time for money any day, because you have money, you don't have time to spend. What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? And that has kind of guided me and led me into not taking certain jobs or taking certain jobs, because I'm like, how much? I see the numbers, I see the money, but how much time is this going to take me though?
Yeah. Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that's just always stuck with you?
Read. I think, I don't remember who exactly said it. And they were like, there's only a few ways where you can elevate yourself. It's not that many. It's not rocket science. If you want to elevate yourself, you have to either put yourself in an environment that will elevate you, or hear things that will elevate you, or read things that will elevate you. So if I'm not at a conference, I'm reading a book or I'm listening to a podcast. That is a daily must for me. Whereas my younger self wouldn't have cared. But now I have to, because that little gem, that little motivational stuff, that's going to pay the mortgage. That's going to put food on the table. That's going to pay salaries. Like it's that important. I equate knowledge to revenue, because I've seen it. One piece of advice just takes me to the next level. So I'm always constantly reading. I even have this app called Headway. It just summarizes books for you. So I'm like, how many more books can I read within a day? Like, so because it's like, it summarizes all the cool books in like 15 minutes. So I can like bust out like 4 different books and be like, and if it's interesting enough, I'll go back and read the long version. But I'm like, I just need the juice. Summarize for me. I need the juice. I'm like, I'm really, I get excited about information. I get excited about learning. The book I'm reading right now is called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Oh my God, I'm loving it so far. I haven't finished it yet, but it's like you just learn, and like learning every day is intoxicating. I love it.
Yeah, I like that book too. What advice would you give to another hair care brand or hair brand owner who is just not seeing the results that they want and they're just ready to give up?
Change something. If you're not seeing the results that you want, more than likely you're not doing enough things. And people say, oh, but I'm doing this. But are you doing the same thing multiple times, or are you doing it? See, the thing that they don't tell you about entrepreneurship, they're like, stay consistent. Yeah, you can stay consistent doing the same thing that don't work though.
Right.
You need to stay consistent, yes, but in the mix of that consistency, throw in a few curveballs and see how it goes. Like I remember, and this is an example really quickly, my Instagram page was just stagnant. I was like, okay, algorithm, this, you can complain about all of that. I was like, oh my Lord. For like 2 years, there was no growth. I was like, this is crazy. But I kept going. I stayed consistent. Nothing happened. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop posting like funny videos. Don't have nothing to do with hair, but let's see how it goes. 20 million views on one of the videos. I was like, 20 million views? So what that did for my page is shut up my engagement, and analytics was off to 20. It was like over like 1 million comments. It was insane. My entire team were like, Jane, we can't, there's a lot of comments. 20 million. It went crazy. And I was like, just off of trying something. It had nothing to do with me. I gave credit to the creator and everything. It was just a guy playing with different hair pieces. Matter of fact, it may be up to 21 million right now. I still to this day. You just got to try different things.
I agree. What's a resource that has helped you or helps you in your business that you can share with the Friends in Beauty community?
Yes, for sure. I like Canva.
Oh, me too.
Canva is like, and recently ChatGPT.
Girl, they don't know about the ChatGPT. Okay. Oh, that is about to change the game. I was just talking about it again this morning with a friend. I just had a networking event last Monday on the MLK Monday. I had a networking event and was telling them about this is about to change content creation, email marketing, everything. It's like you literally have no excuse anymore. Like, it's serious.
Girl, I was like, what? So right now, that right there, I'm hooked. I am hooked. It's amazing. It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yes, check it out. I've been playing around with it myself, just, to see what it's going to spit out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm using this.
Me too. It's so much fun. I love it.
Yes. Okay. So the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank and just say, my name is blank. And the key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
My name is Jane. And the key to longevity and success is faith. Like, girl, because let me tell you something. When all of the marketing efforts, all of the beautiful pictures, all of the dancing videos, all of my snatching because I've snatched so many wigs off. When none worked and I was looking at my sales and it was zero, faith got me. Faith was like, it's okay. You got this. If it wasn't for that, I would have given up. So there's nothing past that for me. So yeah, marketing and all of that is cute and it's great, but you got to put faith behind it. You got to believe, because sometimes the numbers will make you not believe. The comments will make you not believe. The views will make you not believe. People will start unfollowing you, making. I remember one time it was like, I said, babe, the numbers are going backwards. They're unfollowing. But faith. You just keep faith and keep going forward. So that's the only thing that has kept me going in facing whatever I'm dealing with. So faith, definitely.
This has been so amazing. I don't even want to let you go. Before you do though, like share your social media information, like how you want people to connect with you, the Virgin Hair Fantasy, everything that you have going on.
Connect with me on social, all platforms, the Virgin Hair Fantasy. Also on YouTube. I'm on Pinterest playing around. I'm on TikToking, YouTube channel. We have a lot of fun there. I'm also on Clubhouse. For those of you who are wig makers or you aspire to be a wig maker, I have a club called the Wig Business. There, I just literally lay it all out, what you need to do, who you need to do it with, how much you need to charge. And, it's a great place for resource and all of that good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, Jane, this has been so good. Like, it's such a pleasure to meet you and
nice to meet you.
Yes, this is so awesome. I would really love to stay connected with you.
Me too.
Yes. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, #Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.